So PFL has acquired Bellator, and I have a little article to go over, and I also have a little bit of a clip to go over as well with the owner of PFL speaking about Dana possibly now being worried about a new up and coming promotion in PFL being competition and maybe taking over the game. So we'll get into it. First, I'll start off with the article. This is an article written by Brett Okamoto. PFL acquires Bellator, plans champs versus champs event in 2024. With just off of that headline, I think I haven't watched a whole lot of PFL or Bellator in recent time, but I do think that that will be something that gets or garners attention. There are some champions that will now be able to face each other that people have been calling for, but the PFL has acquired Bellator MMA in a landmark deal for combat sports. PFL chairman Donn Davis announced Monday. Term of deal were not disclosed, but Paramount, the former parent company of Bellator, will remain involved as a minority owner. The Bellator brand will still run as a separate reimagined product in 2024, but all Bellator signed athletes will immediately be available to compete on PFL platforms. Additionally, PFL is planning a mega event in 2024 featuring champion versus champion matchups between the two promotions. Um, One of the fights that I was talking about being, I think that will garner a lot of attention is the Kayla Harrison and Chris Cyborg. It'll also open up for there to be more competition for when Francis Ngannou finally makes his MMA debut um, within PFL, if that happens. But I definitely can see some positive outcomes from this. I am very curious to see how this all ends up working out as the months go on, especially when we get into the new year and we see kind of how they articulate the format of how these fights happen, the way that they're going to promote them, the way that they're going to I don't really know what their numbers are like as far as pay-per-view buys and whatnot. So I'd be kind of curious, do they maybe start off just having a lot of the events be free on ESPN until they can work up a little bit to sell pay-per-views, or right off the bat are they just going to try to sell the bigger events as pay-per-views? That's a strategy I would like to see. Um, the clip that I wanted to show is Donn Davis speaking to Ariel Helwani, and I'll show it to you guys right here.
Everybody knows Dana well enough that he only dismisses things that worry him, or else he just doesn't comment. He didn't comment on the PFL for 4 years because he wasn't worried. He's commented on the PFL a lot the last 6 months. Worried. Um, what specifically worried him about Bellator is the metrics we put on the press release. 30% of that roster ranked in the top 25 per fight matrix rankings. So this is not Dana gets to rank his own guys. Don's ranking his own guys. As you know, there's only one group that ranks all fighters, Fight Matrix, independently. 30% of the UFC rosters are top 25 ranked. And now our combined company of PFL and Bellator, 30%. The same. Now, to UFC's credit, if you look at top five in the world, They still own the top five, 1 through 5. So-called pay-per-view cards, we couldn't compete with them right now, which is why we're only going to have 2, and they have 12. Right? But if you say I'm turning on TV on ESPN Saturday night, or I'm going to tune in Friday night to watch his Bellator International Series or PFL, cards are going to be better. Better. Because what they put on this year was ranked 70, and what we're going to put on next year is ranked 40. That's why he said, I don't know why in God's green earth anybody's buying this. Because he's smart, and he knows that. UFC ain't the NFL. We're not the XFL. But he wants you to think that. And it's just a matter of time before that starts to get more well known. And we're not.
So Dana's worried about the PFL. Ooh. Nah. I don't think Dana's worried at all, to be honest. Um, this might be able to, bring some more eyeballs just having this merger happen. And like I said, I'm curious to see how they end up going about it, especially when the new year comes. But to be saying that he's going to be putting on events that get more eyeballs and more attention than the UFC, even when we're talking about fight nights, I would find that to be a very false statement to make. And I know it's something where like maybe you don't see there being a truth or falsity in the statement that was given. But I think he himself knows very well, and I think most people know very well. He can be cocky, he can be confident in what he's got going on and what he's doing, but there is no way they are gonna be outdoing the UFC. Pay-per-view or not, even fight nights, I don't think they're outdoing the UFC. I just don't. I don't even think that they're going to be able to outdo ONE FC. I don't even know how many PFL and Bellator events I've ever even watched. There's maybe been like 1 or 2, and it might have been when like I had really nothing to watch and I scrolled through, what was on ESPN or whatever, and it popped up and I decided to watch it. But I know for certain I've watched more ONE championship cards than both PFL and Bellator combined. For sure. Probably watched a good 5, maybe a little bit more than 5 cards from one championship. So, I mean, it's good on him to be confident. He's definitely getting himself into the news. There's definitely going to be some more eyeballs that come into this merger just because of some of these statements that are being made, the news headlines that are going to be on the internet. It's definitely going to bring some attention towards the PFL. You have Ngannou, who's got himself into the spotlight with this boxing. So if he does go back to the PFL, I do think that that'll also bring some attention towards the PFL. We'll see if that happens, though. I've already been seeing rumors of Ngannou having another boxing match. At this point, does he even need to go back and do MMA anymore? He's ranked in the top 10 of the heavyweight division. Like, he can get big money fights now. He's getting up there a little bit in age, so I don't know. I'd be a little bit curious, but what do you guys think about this? I mean, I kind of gave some of my opinions on it, and that's just kind of how I feel. Like, I like the confidence, but there's no way that this is going to be in competition with the UFC, at least not for, I would say, at least 5 to 10 years. And I think 5 is being generous. It's going to take a while if they want to be in that kind of a competition with the UFC, in my opinion. I don't think Dana's worried at all about it. I think Dana just likes to poke a little bit of fun. Um, I think a lot of businessmen do, especially when it comes to like their competitors. Um, but yeah, drop a comment. Tell me what you think about this.